Hey, welcome back to Views on Brews. I'm Brendan, and this is Mullerbrau's Festus kellerbier. Mullerbrau is a brewery in Pfaffenhofen in the Hellertau region, where I think it's fair to say about a third of the world's hops are continually planted there year on year. And in Hellertau specifically, about 80% of the hops are actually planted in Hellertau. Hallertau. One of the two. Anyway, Hellertau. So there's gonna be some hops in this beer, and I want to get at them and see what they're like. So kellerbier, anyway, it's definitely going to be bottle conditioned. I did a little bit of research on a couple of the ratings apps, and this beer didn't do too well on those apps, but a couple of people have mentioned that it's more of a Zwickel beer. Zwickel is just a lighter, younger, lower ABV version of kellerbier. So I don't know what kellerbier ABV is supposed to be, but this is 5.2%. It says kellerbier on it, does not say Zwickel on the front. I would expect the Zwickels to be about 4 something, and anything just over 5 maybe gets into the kellerbier labeling, but either way, it doesn't matter. We've got 3 odd months left on this, so it's been in the bottle 9 months, so therefore can it be a Zwickel beer if I keep it longer? No, I don't think it can. Okay, so what a great name for a town, Pfaffenhofen. It's just so good. It's so funny. Little windmills on there. I'm guessing there's windmills in Mullerbrau somewhere. A lot of this is written in German on the back. It's got that standard logo, the bearish beer logo on the back, so that you know that it is going to have, you know, anything that's in the Bavarian region is going to conform to the Reinheitsgebot of 1516 German purity law. And it does actually say 1516 there. I can work that out at least. The Reinheitsgebot is like an interesting law. It's a great law for the German brewers to sort of keep a hold of, because it's a massive part of their history, but it's coming under a lot of pressure from modern day brewing where people just want to add all kinds of things and all kinds of different sugars and all kinds of different flavorings and fruits and everything to their beer. But much like the northern parts of Germany, where you had a lot of wheat in beer, the purity law had to be changed to accommodate those sorts of things. So I'm guessing, you know, we've had 500 years of the Reinheitsgebot from 1516, and there was brewing laws before that even that weren't actually called the Reinheitsgebot. I'm sure going forward that things will just evolve to accommodate absolutely everyone. In the same way that the Reinheitsgebot has accommodations for gluten-free beers and low alcohol and no alcohol beers, the same thing will happen with all of the modern day craft breweries that you're going to get. But this one has been around the block. Okay, so let's get this beer open. 5.2%. I've got it. I've got out one of my Spiegelau IPA glasses because I just wanted to see. I've had terrible luck at pouring these beers. I'm going to be a bit wild with my pour. A couple of times I've been a bit wild with these German unboxing beers. And is there anything in there? Of course there is. I want to get all of that in there. Leave a little bit in the bottom, get it in the beer, because all of that yeast contributes massively to the flavour profile of this beer. Any beer, any German beer, any German kellerbier or some kind of Hefeweizen beer, any beer style like that, I always want to put the yeast into the glass, because that's the way it's intended. you know, and it gives it that beautiful cloudy sort of orange, almost bright luminescent orange looking beer. Great head on it. Nice huge iconic German beer head on this beer. Densely compact, going nowhere. Loads of carbonation coming from the bottom of this glass, and I'm wondering, is that just the glass, or is it because I've rustled up some of the yeast at the bottom and I can see them moving around a bit more? But either way, anyway, Prost, Slancher, cheers, all that good stuff, and let's just try this beer out. Let me give us some of the aromas of it first. Kellerbier has that really dry wheat, malt, barley, that dry lager, sort of lager yeast profile to it. So where an ale yeast has all different types of where an ale yeast have all different types of esters in it, the lager yeasts have that sort of really dry sort of hoppy element to the beer. But it feels like this is going to be driven a lot by, as much by the yeast as it is by hops, because these are the types of aromas I get from noble hops. A bit of really interesting, zesty, lightly spicy, peppery, floral note to the aromas on this. I was expecting a yeast aroma or the esters from yeast, but what I'm getting is kind of like the hops. So I know from beer styles that Zwickel has a less pronounced hop aroma profile. So, you know, what it says on the front is kellerbier, and, you know, it is a kellerbier. Let's get into this beer and have a try of it. Wow. There's a decent amount of hops in this beer. Although they're not just bittering hops, they're flavoring hops as well. Medium light body, so incredible drinkability to this beer. You could sink a few of these, but there is a yeast character coming through now. The yeast and the hops in this are playing the biggest part of the beer, which is interesting because you would think that actually there's a decent amount of malt to it as well. It's odd, actually. It seems to have like been attacked at all three fronts. Yeah, so you get 1/3 of it sort of like yeasty, 1/3 of it malty, and 1/3 of it hoppy. And it's not hops at the forefront, it's hop bitterness at the forefront. And it kind of like keeps a lid on the sweetness of the beer and dries it out a little bit, which is really interesting because I expect like wheat or barley, German wheaty or barley beers, no matter what style of variety, to be sweet and bready. So the fact that the hops has this kind of like quenching effect because the bitterness makes you want to take another slug of the beer is quite an interesting sort of counterbalance to the beer. So I'm enjoying that part of it, but I find it odd as well. So I like it. I like the beer. I like all these German beers. So nice bready, sweety, malty, floral, lemon, citrus. Little bit of a yeast profile, a little bit peppery, a little bit something in the background that's sort of mixed in with the hop sort of profile, kind of like a German noble hop profile. Spicy, like peppery floral is the way I put this beer. Interesting beer. Got the beerish logo on the back of it, so we know it's the Reinheitsgebot, Purity Law Brewing. I enjoyed this beer. If you see beers from Mullerbrau, give them a lash. I think they're worth a go. And I think it's on to the next one. Anyway, cheers, Prost and Sláinte, and bye bye.